Today's brief video, I want to take a moment and talk to you guys about 3 major challenges that I faced when I first quit smoking weed. And then I want to offer you solutions to each of these challenges, so hopefully you struggle a little less than I did when you decide to make that decision to quit smoking. If you're new to the channel, my name's Dr. Frank. I'm the founder of AddictionMindset Recovery Coaching, which are programs dedicated to helping people quit nicotine, THC, energy drinks, and adult media content. And at the end of this video, guys, I'm going to give you a special bonus tip when it comes to quitting, so please make it to the end. It's going to be well worth your time. All right, problem number 1 or challenge number 1 would be constipation. Constipation is a very common issue when people first quit smoking weed. Always talk to your doctor before starting a supplement or picking up an over-the-counter medication, but what I usually recommend to patients that we're working with and clients is Smooth Move tea or Smooth Move capsules. So this is an herbal-based laxative and stool softener, and you can find this anywhere where they have a pharmacy or a supplement shop. And it usually takes, I'm going to warn you guys, about 6 to 12 hours to kick in after taking it before it will produce a bowel movement. So you drink the tea or take the capsules, about 6 to 12 hours later you're going to notice some pretty intense stomach cramps, and then you should finally produce a pretty soft bowel movement. Constipation is a major issue for people when they first quit smoking weed, because remember, your endocannabinoid system has tons of receptors inside your GI system, and when you quit smoking weed, you're no longer getting that external source of cannabinoids to stimulate your endocannabinoid system. So it's very normal to see changes in digestion and constipation issues. So Smooth Move tea, Smooth Move capsules, either take them first thing in the morning or like in the evening around 6 or 7 p.m. If you take them in the morning, you're going to have a bowel movement in the evening. If you take them in the evening, you're probably going to have a bowel movement first thing in the morning. I'd recommend taking them on a weekend or a day you're around your house, just to be safe, because when you got to go on this stuff, you got to go. You could also check out Duralax or Miralax. These are over-the-counter medications that you can find, and just talk to your pharmacist about using those products. Duralax, I believe, is both a stool softener and a laxative at the same time. Now, whether you're using Smooth Move, Miralax, or Duralax, you don't want to take these every day for weeks on end. I recommend to clients you use these things, maybe at max twice a week for the first few weeks when you first quit smoking weed if you're struggling with constipation. Exercise, whether it's going for a walk, lifting weights, doing yoga, that's excellent for gastric motility and gastric mobility, moving bowels through your GI tract. So I can't recommend exercise enough, even if it's walking or swimming. Staying hydrated, and not only drinking water, but you might want to consider picking up a sugar-free Gatorade or a sugar-free Powerade, or I put a link to Keto Chow. It's a flavorless drop that you can put in water. It's electrolyte drops, right? It doesn't have any of that artificial junk in it that Gatorade and Powerade have. That's the first thing. It's really important that you address that, guys, because if you're getting constipated and you're having trouble eating food because of nausea, this is going to become really complicated and you're not going to feel well. So jump on those constipation issues right away if you're having them. Don't mess around with that. The next major issue would be insomnia. In most of my videos, I do tell people, and I really do mean this, the insomnia is just something that you have to get through. Like, it's just something you got to do. I would recommend basic stuff, though. Completely cut out caffeine, completely cut out coffee, completely cut out any tea with caffeine in it, any type of stimulants that you're consuming. If you are consuming nicotine, remember nicotine is a stimulant, so it's going to make your sleep worse. It's going to wake you up. It releases adrenaline. So getting rid of coffee, pre-workout products, caffeinated products, going to be really good for sleep. I would recommend exercising. Exercise is another great way to wear yourself out during the day and burn off some of that excess energy. So weight training, walking, yoga is going to be really good for sleep. I would recommend going to bed and trying to wake up at the same time every day. Getting your body's circadian rhythm rebalanced, right? Your endocannabinoid system plays a large role in balancing your circadian rhythm. So when you quit smoking weed, naturally your sleep cycle's all messed up. I don't recommend over-the-counter sleep aids. If you want to get into supplements, like a 1 milligram or a 0.5 milligram melatonin might be appropriate, especially if you're not somewhere where you're regularly exposed to sunlight. It's the sunlight that stimulates melatonin production for when we go to bed. So if you're in a place like me, Buffalo, New York, where you only average 150 days of sun a year and you work, 6 days a week, you might want to consider a melatonin supplement. Magnesium, another product out there, Calm, C-A-L-M, that's a really good powdered magnesium supplement that can help with sleep. It can also help with muscle spasms and muscle cramps if you're experiencing that. And then there's a few other sleep supplements out there on the market, guys, but I really wouldn't invest too much into them, because really at the end of the day, the insomnia is going to go away when your endocannabinoid system heals and rebalances. So I wouldn't force feed yourself supplements and medications to try to sleep, because I think big picture you're probably going to make things worse. Definitely wouldn't do a melatonin vape. I want to throw that out there. I think that's a terrible idea. Melatonin vape. Definitely would not do that. If anything, just a 0.5 or a 1 milligram capsule. I put links to all these products in the video description below to this video for you guys. Cutting out alcohol, right? Alcohol interrupts our ability to achieve deep sleep and REM sleep. And when we quit smoking weed, our body's trying to achieve deep sleep and REM sleep. So I would highly recommend avoiding alcohol as well if sleep is a problem for you. And then you can go on YouTube, guys, and there's some really great guided 2-minute meditations to help you fall asleep. I think if you YouTube how to fall asleep in 2 minutes military, you'll pull up some really cool 2-minute meditations that they use in the military to help you fall asleep like instantly, and they're great meditations to do. Okay, and then the last thing would be nutrition. A lot of people, when they quit smoking weed, they find that they're nauseous, they can't eat food, and they're really struggling with nutrition. So I'm a big proponent of making smoothies, right? You want to get yourself, I used to recommend almond milk. I'm kind of getting away from that now. I'm recommending more oat milk, because oat milk is lower in oxalates, and oxalates can cause joint pain and muscle pain. So you get yourself a nice unflavored oat milk, and then you maybe want to make a fruit smoothie. You put some banana in there, blueberries, blackberries, cherries, raspberries, fresh or frozen fruit, whatever it is that floats your boat, with some oat milk, and a really clean whey protein powder supplement, right? You want to get either an unflavored one or one that just uses stevia and not sucralose and aspartame to flavor the protein powder. But shakes are like a staple for a lot of people when it comes to quitting. I was really big at the time when I first quit into nut butters, like almond butter, cashew butter. This was a really high source of fat that was really easy to consume. Peanut butter would screw up my stomach and constipate me, so I really tried to not eat a lot of peanut butter. I would snack on things like pickles, cucumbers, right? Pickles really high in electrolytes, which again goes back to that keeping hydrated. Things like hard-boiled eggs, which are going to be really high in vitamin D and omega fatty acids, and a great source of protein, really easily digested. I didn't have a problem with digesting eggs, so eggs for me were a great thing. And think like watermelon was a great one. Think plain Jane too when it comes to the food. Like, you don't want to be doing hot sauce and heavy creamy sauces and stuff like that, because that's going to mess your stomach up, especially early on in the withdrawal process. So think plain Jane when it comes to your food prep and the foods that you're going to be eating. Otherwise, I think it's just going to make you nauseous. And if you guys have to, ideally you're trying to get 2-3 meals a day in, but for me, often what would happen is I would do a shake in the morning, because that was all I could handle, or mid-afternoon, actually around like 12, 1 o'clock. And then at dinner time is usually where I'd eat a lot more food. That's where I'd maybe have 2-3 hard-boiled eggs, a cheeseburger with a slice of cheese. Maybe I skipped the bun, the ketchup, and the mustard. And then, I would actually make my own potatoes sometimes. I would do a baked potato with butter. Yeah, I know potatoes are high in oxalates too, but that's not the point of this video. But, now I got some carbs, I got some fats, I got some proteins. I've made other videos about nutrition, and I can make more. If you guys comment that you need more videos about nutrition, I can do more on that for you guys if you want. Now for the bonus tip, guys, and this is kind of a two-part bonus tip. So part number one, if you're quitting smoking weed, after you hit the 90-day mark, I would highly recommend getting blood work done. Get your testosterone levels checked. Get your thyroid levels checked. Get your C-reactive protein levels checked. Get your cholesterol levels checked. Get your iron levels checked. Your B vitamins, your vitamin D, getting sun, getting vitamin D. Get all of those things checked, because if you're 90 days out and your health still isn't feeling the best, at this point, I want to start to know, I want to know what's going on with my client, what's going on with my patient. And that's something that, guys, is usually fixable, because the last thing we want is you to quit smoking weed for 90 days and you're saying, oh, I'm still suffering from fatigue or stomach problems or depression. Well, maybe there's something really simple in your blood work, like a vitamin D deficiency, that we could address with supplements or, lifestyle modification, getting outside when you can, and we could start to fix those problems. So I highly recommend a very thorough blood work panel, not just your basic cholesterol and metabolic panel. I mean everything 90 days after you quit smoking weed, okay? And if you guys don't know what to do, reach out to our offices, have a consultation with us. I'll make a more detailed video on it soon, but feel free to ask. Now, my other piece of advice to you guys would be is when you do quit smoking weed, don't make your only goal quitting smoking weed, right? So in the beginning, that's fine, and you don't want to bite off more than you can chew, but what is quitting smoking weed about? Is it about fixing those relationships? Is it about fixing your mental health and fixing your physical health, right? So if you're 28, 29 years old and you're thinking about quitting smoking weed, do you have a goal to try and be married by the age of 35? Is that something that you care about? Do you want to try and start a family and have a wife? Is that a goal of yours? Is it a career goal? You're quitting smoking weed, but maybe you have this career goal of you want to get a job, or maybe you already have a very successful job. Maybe you're looking at jumping into that next stream of income, that next business. Maybe you have a savings goal. You're saving up for something particular, retirement, a future investment, a home, right? I think when you quit smoking weed, one of the messages that we preach to people is, yes, this is about quitting, but it's not so much about quitting as it is about what you're gaining back in life. So when we work with clients in our programs, we're really interested in is okay, but why are you quitting? And what other things are we going to focus on? Because if you suffer with addiction, you have that addicted mentality. You have that obsessed mentality. And that never went away from me, and it's probably never going to go away for you. So we got to figure out where you're going to transition that obsession, that drive, that ambition that you were putting into weed addiction. Where are we going to transfer that into in your future, so we can move the needle forward in your life and not backwards? So yeah, have more than just a goal of quitting smoking weed. This is about a lot more than quitting smoking weed. Get your bloods done at the 90-day mark, a big panel. If you don't know what a big panel looks like, consult with my offices. We can help you we can either order it for you, or we can get it for you one way or another, get you in touch with someone in your area who can. And then work on those three things, guys. Those are crappy withdrawal symptoms that I don't want you to have to suffer from. And follow me in the next video where I talk a little bit about anxiety and smoking weed, because it's interesting.